Hey everyone, how's it going? So this video was actually inspired by a fellow motor vlogger by the name of Doodle on a Motorcycle, and she chats about ownership of a Triumph Street Triple and asked us to share our thoughts as well. So yeah, why not? Back in 2010 I had a whole fleet of motorcycles. I had, I think, 6 in total, and we'll talk about 3 of them. One was a TT600 Triumph. That was meant to be my track bike. I had an Aprilia RSV R1000R, which was my weekend bike, and also used it as a track bike as well. And also had a Kawasaki R5. That was my my daily runner that I used to take to and from work, and it also used to be my wife's bike that she'd use when we'd go riding. So after my daughter was born, my wife no longer wanted to ride. I was okay with that, that's fine. So I still use the R5 as a daily runner. And come 2010, we'd actually we're in the middle of building a house. We sold our house, we're living with my in-laws, so we didn't have a lot of space to work with, and I started selling off some of my bikes. I sold the Triumph TT600, I then sold off the Kawasaki R5, and started looking for a bike that would do fill in those roles as a daily runner. I could use it on the weekend, you know, and it would keep up with my mates through the bendies, through the twisties, and could also be used on the track. And I was looking for a bike that would fill all those roles, and something that was a little more a little more upright and not as heavy on the wrists. Anyway, I test rode a Triumph Street Triple and thought it was great, so I thought I'd get the R version. I'm a fan of you either get a bike in factory colours, or if you can't do that, your next best option is to get it in black and a gold sort of configuration. That paint scheme generally doesn't date as quickly as like a modern paint scheme would. Especially, I think the Triple R's were a silvery colour, bright an orangey or a lime green. Anyway, straight off the bat, I wasn't that keen on the lights. They looked a bit too bug-eyed to me. So to fix that, I put a little a tiny little fairing on the front. I think it's called a fly screen fairing, and that hid the lights, and it actually integrated nicely with the bike. And the other aesthetical thing was down at the bottom of the headers, at the bottom of the bike, it just looked a bit open and something was missing. So Triumph had a factory belly pan, so I actually had that put on when I bought the bike, and I was quite happy with the overall looks. Other accessories added to the bike later on were the very important Jivy top box. This was important because the bike was a daily runner. I needed somewhere to store my helmet and gloves, and in summer you could also fit the winter jacket. It was I think a 28 or 32 litre top box, so it wasn't too big and bulky, and it stayed within the profile of the bike. The other things I would have liked to have added to it was probably an Arrow, the lower exhaust. So that was the exhaust that just it sat low on the bike. It didn't come up like the traditional pipes on the early Street Triples did. And I would have probably splashed out and bought a Corbin seat. Now, you could get the gel pad seat, and I actually got that, but this was one of the downsides to my bike. The gel pad seat, me being 110 kilos with a bony ass, it generally didn't hold. After about an hour and a half, it just got uncomfortable for me, the seat. But yeah, I never ended up changing it. I had the bike for 5 years, between 2010 to 2015, and provided no issues at all. And I rode this bike predominantly to and from work. Over the 5-year period, I probably racked up 24 to 25,000 Ks on it, so not a lot of, probably not as much commuting as I was first expecting. I was expecting to put about 15,000 Ks on it a year. There was a period of a few months there, and it was winter in 2012 that I rode the bike. That's the only transport I had. Unfortunately, it was the middle of winter, and geez, it was cold. Overall, the bike was great. The tachometer was easy to read. It's a good job to set it up with LED indicators to help you with your gear changes, and once you hit your desired rev range, it would flash. So I used to set mine up about 1,000 RPM short of the top of the peak of the torque curve. I couldn't tell you what RPMs that was. I can't remember. Also, the Street Triple indirectly is responsible for me getting into motovlogging. Back when I was working night shift, had a lot of downtime, so I used to watch a bit of YouTube, and I typed in Street Triple, and motovlogger by the name of Old Man Triple come up. And considering he was in Australia, although on the other side of Australia in Perth, got me hooked on watching motovlogs. And I suppose you could say inspired me to start this channel, even though it was 4 years after watching it all. I know he no longer vlogs on YouTube. You can find him on Instagram. He posts regularly there, but it's very little bike content. But yeah, overall, I was all happy with the experience. It was good on tyres, good on chains, because it was a 675. In Australia, or in New South Wales, if your bike's under a 725cc, it's a lower insurance category, so it was quite cheap to run, register and insure. Fuel economy wasn't as good as I was expecting. It's actually got to be it used to get around the same fuel economy as the Guzzi, even though it's just over half the cubic capacity. But performance, yeah, you couldn't knock that. Probably equal or slightly better than the Grisso. I'm not sure if that's just because I like taking it through the rev range, and that was one of the good things about, or good and negative things about the bike. You did tend to speed a lot because you were just pumping it through the gears, and that was a lot of fun. It had a lot of factory accessories, but it was well supported in aftermarket. A lot of companies made parts for them, and some good aftermarket parts, and you'll find them all through the internet. And yeah, as I said earlier, the bike served me well. Now, the reason I sold it, well, unfortunately, I picked that bike with my head, not really my heart. It was a very good bike. It's reliable, never let me down, but also wasn't a bike I actually lusted after. It definitely wasn't a hero bike. Wasn't a bike that I thought I was going to keep forever, or if I did keep it, it was never going to be. I don't know. It just it's one of those bikes. I didn't look back on it and grin like an idiot. Just thought, yep, this is good. As I said, the problem earlier I had with it, the seat position or the riding position, although it was quite comfy, for some reason, I just could not get comfy even on the gel seat, and I wasn't prepared to shell out $700 for an aftermarket seat if I was going to have the same problem. And in all honesty, I was looking at other bikes, so I'm there going, oh, I wouldn't mind this, I wouldn't mind that. And I sat on Moto Guzzi 1200 Sport, and that's ended up what I wanted to get. It doesn't always work that way, but yeah, at the end of the day, it's not the bike I wanted. I was no longer needed it for regular daily transport. I had a company vehicle, and I thought I'd treat myself. And that's why I ended up trading it. Now, on the trade-in, because it is such a popular bike, it did hold its value pretty well. I think it retained 60% of its retail value, which on a trade-in is very good value. so there was no problem there. But yeah, overall a good bike, and I'm sure those that, you know, if you're looking for a daily commuter, even buying one second hand, if you can find a good one, and there's plenty of them out there, it would serve you well. It'd run cheaply and still be good enough for you to you know, ride it on the weekend, throw it through the bends. It was a lot of fun through bends because it was so light, and it had a good mid-range punch. You could really get into it. Would I own one again? I like the look of the new ones. The 765 looks amazing. I don't think I'd ever use it to replace the Guzzi though. I'm just too much a fan of this bike. But would I recommend one to people? Yeah, and the new ones do look phenomenal. Best insult I copped on it was because I'm so tall, and I think it was just the salesman trying to sell me a bigger bike. He said I looked like a praying man that's humping a lady beetle on it. I didn't think that was the case. I felt quite comfy. As I said, it was just the backside that was the issue. Let's get around. But overall, an enjoyable experience. I find if owning the bike for 5 years. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Let me know if I'll do more of these videos about previous bikes. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like. Also, if I see enough likes on the video, I'll definitely share more of my bikes I've owned. I think I've owned a total of 11, and that's just road bikes. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next vid.